One. Hey, hello everybody. This is Greg West coming from our new platform that we're launching today. This is our inaugural show today for Black Community Blackboard. Um, what this channel is going to be focused on? It's time to start celebrating our Black leaders and our Black just people in our community. They don't necessarily have to be a leader because you're a leader in your own right, and that's the thing that we're trying to promote and let everybody know. Instead of looking for somebody on the outside to lead, we need to learn how to go inside and lead ourselves. So this channel is going to be dedicated to those unsung heroes in our community, the ones who are the movers and the shakers that are always in the background, and some of them you do see out front, vocally and everything. But it's time to start giving homage and start talking to our community leaders, our black community small business owners, our major business owners, our educators, the ones who have been in the cut for years, helping people. And today, I'm excited because this is our first show. And today I had an honor of bringing on our first guest. He's doing some groundbreaking stuff, with this being our inaugural show. Is my big brother, what a lot of people don't know. This is actually my big brother, but he's also the leader of the new Black Party Panther here in Dayton, Ohio. He does a lot in the community. He's very vocal. He's also out there frontline. He can be deemed as controversial, but we always seem to take hits when you're out there doing things from people who might not be doing anything. That's just my little dig. I'm saying that, because I understand his pain because I get shot at too, But one thing we got to know is that, when we put ourselves out there, we got to have some tough skin. So I'd like to introduce to everybody my brother and also the leader of the new Black Party Panther party here in Dayton, Dominick. Give us a little introduction of yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into our interview, please.
Good morning and Black Power. I'm Dominick. I'm actually recently got a promotion, so I am the Midwest region chairman for the new Black Panther Party. So that includes Ohio, parts of Michigan, Northern Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, all the way to St. Louis. I actually founded this chapter of the new Black Panther Party back in 2007, along with General Chewy of the Republic of New Africa and General Jeff Dixon, both who
Rest in power.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to say rest in power. Go ahead and finish, man. My bad.
No, okay. I basically, man, I'm a lifelong Dayton resident. Went to public school here. Went to Colonel White High School. I'm a lifelong Seventh-day Adventist. I still embrace religion. I think religion and spirituality is an important element in maintaining strength to do this type of work, man. So I don't reject religion. Religion is not as popular among Black folks as it used to be, but I choose to remain in the religious circle. Yeah, so that's kind of who I am.
Okay. So, I'm going, try to keep this flow without, me being biased because, that's what we do as little brothers team. We've been watching our big brothers all our life. But one thing I understand about you, Don, is that you've, since I can remember, you, one way or the other, you've been in the community, I remember
Right.
being a kid, might not always been the most positive, but, as we grow, we mature, we grow up. What,
Right.
what was the thing that really made you wanted to help our people?
Well, here's the thing, man. I kind of started early. Grandpap, our grandfather, Mr. Roebuck, he was a politician in Dayton, a community advocate in Dayton for as long as I can remember. He served on the Democratic Party Executive Committee for almost 30 years. So I kind of grew up around politics. Uncle Sonny, George Roebuck Jr. was also a community person and a politician. And so I kind of grew up around politics. I always say some family have a history of being police officers, some are firemen, some are drug dealers. In our family, we were politicians. So I'm just basically doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm being what I'm supposed to be. I had a period in my life where I got off track and I got caught up in the streets. But when I actually got out of the streets and got myself somewhat healed up, um, those negative things that I went through only added to my desire to want to uplift my community because I began to learn about a lot of the reasons why we had crack in our community,
Right.
a lot of reasons why we had poverty in our community. And it spoke to me and my family specifically because we were affected. You know that, brother. We were
Right.
affected by some of that. And so um, that just gave me a even passionate drive to help our people make things better.
You know, some of the things, like, we hear a lot of negative, about what's wrong with the black community. But one thing I know about being out here, we know this. There's a lot of good things going on. And we talked offline before we got, what are some of your plans of if you could help to make, to bring everything together where people know about all these resources that are really going on that, a lot of people don't know, because the only thing we'll hear from the mainstream media is all the negative stuff that happens. They're quick to report, what I'm saying, the shooting at the bootleg joint or the drug deal over in the Bass or, the car wreck where they found dope in the car on Salem. But they won't talk about the positive things that are going on in the community. So if you could, what would be one of the ways that you would highlight and get some of that good community action that's going on out into the forefront?
Well, one of the things that I'm working on now, what the Black Panthers is working on now, is putting together a community slash political action group together, and we're trying to get as many people together as we can to kind of bring everything together in a marketplace type mentality. We was talking earlier about Dayton is it's a manageable town. It's not too big to where we can't connect with each other and and build power amongst our people. So that's one of the things we trying to do is get in 2021. We want to get everybody together um, that's doing work in the community and kind of put together a apparatus where people won't have to go in different directions, where they can come to one place or whether it be an actual place or virtual or both of those things. You know what I'm saying? Where people can come together and kind of brainstorm. Uh, I always talk about when Adam Clayton Powell was a congressman in Harlem, they had a apparatus in place where um, everybody knew what was going on with the politics, and Clayton Powell, he could sit down and take a picture with Malcolm X and wouldn't have to worry about any votes because he had his structure in place, right? And so I think that's one of the things we're struggling with in Dayton is to put a cohesive structure together where Black people can make decisions about politics and community on their own, and they won't always have to run to the white Democrats to tell us who our leader is going to be. We make those decisions ourselves, basically, right?
Right.
Because historically, that's what we've done. We've let them make those decisions for us, or the clergy would like you were discussing the other day on social media, the clergy would make the decision, and the people would follow the lead of the clergy. Well, there's a different dynamic going on now. Nothing against the clergy.
Right.
They should be a part of that too. But there's a groundswell of young activists and not so young activists who are really doing some good work in the community and really having a lot of influence over um, the mindset of our people in the city of Dayton. So we want to enhance on that. We want that to be something that people know about. And from there, we branch out with all those other programs and services. So you can call or you can contact somebody in the marketplace or in the collective and they can let you know who's registering voters. They can let you know who's giving out clothes and shoes. They can let you know um, who we looking at to run for mayor or city commission. So that's kind of what we working on trying to put together right now.
Sort of like back in the day when we as a people had to travel, we had the green book where we told each other where you was safe to stay and everything like that. And I believe, like this is just something that, I believe it is time that we go back to, having our own information and keeping it in house, still
Right.
transparent, but keeping it in house. And like you said, instead of having other people decide who our leaders are, let our leaders really come from out of the community and let the community. But one of the things that I've noticed over the years, and I've seen it digress, is that we as a community don't take interest in our communities like we used to. But there's a dynamics coming and a shift, like you were talking about. This new generation is coming up. They have more information at their hands. Social media. That's why when we were talking, like I agree with you. Yeah, yes, the black clergy still plays a vital role in helping people. Especially when they're running a political campaign, but they don't have the same pull with this younger generation as they used to be. Like when we were coming up, the black church was it.
Mhm.
Our parents' generation, your mom, my dad's, generation before that, the black church was it.
Right.
Now it's not so much that so we have to keep our finger on the pulse of the community so we know how to keep reach these people and be still effective and everything. And that's the good thing that I like to see. What are some of the things that you guys? I know that you do clothes drive. I know that you have that open air market sometime down on Connors. Where is it, Connors or Conover?
It's on Conover.
Conover. I know you do that. It's probably too cold for that now. But what are some of the other things that I know you guys launched the store over there on Siebenthaler in Philadelphia. Let's talk about some of the things that the black that we need y'all to know. I mean, people to know what the black part, the new Black Panther Party of the Midwest. Now that you're the director of that, are doing. You can talk about more than just what we're doing in the Dayton community. You can talk about what's going on in Columbus and stuff like that, because we never know where this video might show up, and people need that information.
Um, yeah. Last year, man, was a very productive year in spite of the COVID for the new Black Panther Party in Dayton. We kicked off the year. We did a protest at H&L Market. Basically, they were selling substandard food, and customer service was terrible. And brother went in there, and one of the clerks called him nigger. And so they
Mhm.
brought us in, and you were there, you were part of that, and we basically demanded that they change up some things, that they do better, and so that's how we kicked off the year. We were successful in bringing about some changes at that market. Um, we also, when the COVID hit, we made it a point to get out absentee ballot applications to um, the senior citizens. So we gave away about 500 of them um, to senior citizens that we knew. We had the foresight to see that with this COVID thing growing, these people weren't going to come out the house and actually go to the polls and vote. So we made sure not only that we give them out, but we created a spirit where other groups would be willing to get out and do things like that too. Um, when the spring came, we wanted to have a Juneteenth festival. So we helped organize the Juneteenth festival down here at Dayton View Park, which we renamed Liberation Park.
Right.
We're trying to make that we're trying to put that in stone, get the city to go along with actually changing the name of that. A few weeks after that, we had the George Floyd incident that captivated the nation because it was on film. And so I got a call from the national office of the New Black Panthers, and they suggested we do a day of action around George Floyd. And they said I could do what I wanted to do. So I organized a march, myself and Chad White and Bishop Cox, and we had a couple thousand people downtown. It got a little out of hand at the end, which wasn't our fault, but it actually kind of worked out to the good because um, they were willing to do police reform. So we got in. I got a call from the mayor, and she asked me would I put some people up for some of the committees for police reform. So we actually right now are participating in police reform. Now that wasn't real popular with the new Black Panther Party, but they went along with my decision to participate in that as long as it was transparent and the people in the community knew what I was doing. So um, we're making some recommendations on that. I'm on the excessive force committee. We're doing making some recommendations that hopefully will lead to some change in the police departments in this country.
Right. That's what we do need is a lot of work with the police force because the original Panther Party was founded so that we could have people in our community policing the police when they come in. Because this is not what's so funny is like just because we have social media and we're catching it more and more, it's
Mhm.
how white America thinks that we've been lying for years about the police brutality and everything, and the original Black Panther Party was, formed one of the big things so that we could stop the police brutality in our neighborhoods and stuff like that.
Sure,
So it's
sure.
funny that now you're on a commission to help, with police reform. What are some, you saying that hopefully, some of those recommendations will come. What have been some of the recommendations that you've given to the city so that the community can know what we're looking at as a community that we're telling them so if these reforms don't happen, we can keep our politicians and our leaders held accountable because this is what we said as a community we think needs to be done in our police force. And if it doesn't get done, we know how to keep them accountable.
Well, myself and there's some other really good dynamic the people from the public defender's office. But what we're doing now is kind of deconstructing their policies, kind of taking a fine tooth comb through their policies and saying, hey, you know, this policy doesn't go far enough, right? It's not specific enough. And that's what's happening, man, in this country. The policies that the police supposedly adhere to, they have loopholes. There's ways for them to escape. So if they shoot a Breonna Taylor or a Trayvon Martin, or well, not Trayvon, but some of the other people, Dante Martin, Kershawn Burney, DeMarco McShane, they have these policies, man, that allowed them to wiggle their way out of responsibility for the crime. So one of the real exciting things we're doing is deconstructing these policies, man, and coming together and saying, hey, this policy is not specific enough. One of the pieces that I really advocated for was rights and responsibilities. So um, over the years, I'm a paralegal. And one of the things I learned in college was that when it comes to things like Miranda, the Fifth Amendment, you have the right to remain silent. The police unions are trying to, they've been trying for years to make it where they don't have to read you your Miranda because they say it's so much in popular culture that everybody should know it, right? And what I'm saying, what we're saying is that um, no, if that's the law, you should adhere by that law, right?
Right.
So you should uh, let that suspect know what his rights are in advance of you questioning or even arresting him. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times people slip through the loopholes because they don't know their rights. So I'm advocating that be at least a quarter of police reform is education
Right.
to our community. The original Black Panther Party, it was big on educating people about their rights. And we actually have a pocket lawyer that tells people what they can do, what they can't do, what your rights are, even all the way until you get to the jailhouse, and even after, even beyond that, because you have certain rights. You have to make a phone call. They have to charge you in 48 hours, or they have to release you. A lot of these things, um, the average person, this generation, they don't know those things, so they go along with what the police tell them. So that's kind of the big thing, and we're advocating. We were part of the advocating for body cameras, right? Turn those cameras on and let the community actually see what you're doing. If you don't have anything to hide, right, then turn those buy cameras and turn those cameras on. So when you interact with people, so there's no doubt what actually happened. You know what I'm saying?
And
So
I
that's
know,
kind of the stuff.
right. And I know,
That,
just from my point of view, one of the things that I would like to have, if I was on the committee, and maybe you can bring this up, is educating the police more on their on our citizens' Fourth Amendment right, where we don't have to identify unless we're in the commission of a crime or suspected of a crime. And you know what I'm saying? Because that's one thing that they get away with so many times. Because we as and it's our job to educate ourselves and educate our community. Let them know that just because they pull up on you and you're standing on the block, you don't have to identify yourself. You know,
right,
um,
right,
and because that's how they think that, and for lack of better terms, they use the scapo tactics on the black community, and
right.
that's why we need people like the Black Party, Panther Party out there to make sure that our rights aren't being violated. So, what are some of the things that you see coming up hopefully for 2021 that you have on the agenda that you would like to try to get out there, or you already have planned?
Well, one of my main projects I just kicked off is we going around to these markets in the community, right? And we're doing assessments on these markets. If you shop in West Dayton, you know that there's a lot to be desired with some of these corner markets, and that's not just independent owned stores. That's these chain stores too, like Dollar General and
Yeah,
places.
no,
Um, the people that have the resources to do better than what they're doing, and they're not doing it. So we going around in the spirit of the original Panthers and making recordings and taking pictures and telling them, look, we spend our money here. We spend a lot of money here, right? And we want a better quality of goods and services and prices, man. We know that those independent businesses sometimes have to charge a little bit higher, but not 200 or 300%
right.
of what you can get it for at Kroger's or Walmart, right? And a lot of our people don't have transportation to those places, and so they have to shop in the community. I had people say, well, Gem City Market is coming. Yeah, that's good, but that ain't enough, right? We want the whole thing, man. We don't want just a trade-off, right? We want all this to be um and then we Gem City Market ain't open yet. So we're gonna take an aggressive stand and we're gonna say we're gonna wait till they open up and then we're gonna go in there and see if that's for us. Okay. If that's actually for us, if that's actually geared towards our community, or is it just part of the regentrification plan?
That's where I was about to go with that because
Yeah.
my
So
bad. Go ahead.
right. So we not necessarily looking for a Dorothy Lane market in the sense of uh, higher prices and stuff that's not geared towards. We understand healthy eating and stuff like that, but we want a place to look like and feel like us, man. You know what I'm saying? Because we are who we are. You feel me?
Right.
So that's one of the main projects I'm kicking off for the new year. That and the political action committee. Um, we actually started last year. We were after George Floyd. The second part of that, besides the police reform, was actually approaching some of these big businesses and these corporations in Dayton, and trying to suggest that they invest in the Black community. So I put together a little group of 4 or 5 people, and we met with Sinclair College. We met with Kettering Medical Center, and we met with the county. We were successful with Kettering in getting them to offer some jobs to the Black community. They haven't signed off on it yet, so we're going to go back. We approached the county. The county actually gave us $50,000 for McClendon Institute, which is a community place where they teach African dance, and they had a roof problem since the 80s. Okay, and they were never able to obtain any funds, and so we approached the county, and they had some money under the CARES Act, and they actually gave them $50,000. So we want to continue doing that. We want to approach, CareSource and some of the big institutions in the county that are actually making money off of Black people, but not reinvesting in the Black community. So that's kind of Black Panther Party 2000, where we're kicking it off from right now.
Those are all good things. So will you be having the Juneteenth celebration again this year?
We were asked last year to if we wanted to host it. I know Wesley Center usually does it. In the last year, because of COVID, they chose not to do it. We talked earlier about Wesley Center, so
Right.
I would like to. It's always best to partner with somebody, and this is what I tell people, man, all the time. I get accused of a lot of stuff, but I always try. I believe in coalition building, right?
Right.
In the image of like Fred Hampton. So I would really like to partner with people like Wesley Center and anybody else that wants to get involved. That's not in competition with me, right? Because I think that we could do a bigger, better Juneteenth festival if we came together. And so that might be something that I might look into, is meeting with some people at Wesley Center, maybe this week, this coming week.
Well, I do have a meeting with Sean Kirkley, the new executive director. Him and his staff are going to be one of the ones that are featured coming up in the next couple of weeks. So I'll see if I can get you on that call this week when we're doing that, because that's where Felons with a Future, the nonprofit that I started. They open their doors up to us, and that's where we'll be running our classes from, because one of the things, not to get off topic, but it does all still tie into what you're talking about. One of the things that they're looking to do up at Wesley Dayton is turning it into the hub where we all, your organization, you have a home now. We all have homes, but it's spread out, and a lot of us, where the community, right here, the Black community Blackboard will be, where we know what events are going on and everything. That way, we're not overlapping, because there's a lot of good services that are going on in our community, but a lot of times they're missed because nobody, we don't have one focal place, a coalition, let people know. And I've noticed in my, my time of being organizing things and helping communities, activists and stuff like that, a lot of times we're overlapping each other. Like Black Panther Party might be having an event going on today. Felons with a Future might be having some. Instead of us, having a general place where we can coordinate, like, okay, this is what's going on, and the people who will be coming to support Felons with a Future can come and help support, Black Panther Party, or, or whatever other Black community organization is going on. That's one of the things that I see that is needed. And I like your idea about trying to do that. And the model, we'll need your help with completing the model that has already been started. So yeah, I'll do my best to get you on the call this week, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man, because you're right, man. I mean, that's an obtainable goal, right?
It's simple.
It's simple. And that's one of the things that we should really aggressively be pursuing, man. As long as we are disunified, man, we are always at the mercy of everybody else, right? And
Right.
so, and we got to speak to that, man, because it's a mindset, right? Okay, and so it takes a collective or a spirit of self determination, a collective mindset to bring that about. So if I'm of the mindset that it's all about me and I'm just pursuing my goals, I'm never going to be able to be a part of that, right? But if I adopt a collective mindset, not so much look for um, myself to gain from that, but I look at it from a community perspective. That's not to say that people can't do their own thing. This is what I tell the Panthers. If you got a business of your own outside the Panthers and you're making money for yourself and your family, that's great, okay? But we also have to have a mindset, a community mindset. It's a lot of people in the community that have successful small businesses, Black people, um, and they look at that as this is my portion that I'm giving to the community. That's good. All right. That's correct. Okay. But we need you to do some free stuff too, right? You know what I'm saying? We need you to invest some time in helping somebody else. That's the mindset that we missing. And a lot of times you see that in the white community, not to say that they're any better than us, but
Right.
there are times when events and projects kick off and we'll have something, right? And more white folks will show up than Black folks, right?
Right.
And it's like, come on, people, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, hook that up for me, bro.
I got it. Um, let's talk about the store that was y'all launched earlier this year, man. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, we reorganized after George Floyd. I got the call from Texas to do some reorganizing with the Black Panthers. So a lot of young people came in as a result of George Floyd. And so we had several meetings where we sat up and we talked about um, putting a new feel or a more current face on the Black Panthers without infringing on the original philosophy for the Black Panthers. And one of the sisters who I gave an office, she had a space that she was contracted to, and she wanted to do a community store, like a community marketplace, kind of like what Tay Winston got, right, where young entrepreneurs could come together and sell their wares. So we kicked it off. It was on the corner of, well, still on the corner of Siebenthaler and Philadelphia Drive. And so we have several creative members in the party that made stuff. I do some stuff. I make pictures and stuff. We sell books and stuff, T-shirts and stuff like that. It's just in the infant stages. I let that be the young people. I let that be their project, right? So I try to help as much as I can, but I let them control um, how that thing is going to proceed in the future. So they just moved across the street in another space on that same strip, and I guess they're doing pretty good with that.
I was able to go when you pointed out our sister. She's on our wall now, man. Those items that she brought back from Africa. Once she told me that those were hers, I went right back to the store and immediately bought them. So if I could show you them all in my office, so Shelly's in the room with us right now, big bro, while we're interviewing. I went back immediately and got those masks, and they're in the room with us, man. So it's like, yeah, I'm glad that store was there. You know what I'm saying?
You buy those masks?
I bought them, man.
I was wondering who bought them.
I
Yeah,
went and
I'm glad you told me that, man, because there was they lost the records of those masks, and so those was important to me because Shelly
bro,
brought those back from
Yeah.
Africa. And I donated them to the store. That's how passionate I felt about the store. But I'm so pleased that you got them masks, man.
They right here. I'm looking at them now. They're on my wall in my office, big bro. I mean,
Yeah, I'm so pleased because I had put them up. You know what I'm saying? When after she died, I had put them away. And you know how you just have stuff, man. And I would rather somebody had that. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
I'm so glad that you got them, man. Oh man, that make my day, man. It's
yeah, yeah. So I because I didn't have any cash on me at that time, and they weren't taking card that day. So I immediately went and got some cash and came back. I was like, these things ain't going nowhere. They coming home with me, you know.
right. That's great, man. That's
You know,
great.
because I remember, I'll never forget you told you said, if I put a front lace wig on, me and her would be twins. I said,
Yeah, I would, man. That was
you
identical, man. I got a painting of her that one of the brothers was in prison with Daryl, our brother Daryl that passed,
right,
and it's spot on, man. I had to show it to you sometime.
yeah, but yeah. So getting back, man, because so like, who are some of the people that you partnering with right now? That the Black Panther Party have been partnering with over the years, and also who are some of the ones that you would like to partner with?
Well, I've been partnered with for years I've been working with Bishop Cox.
Yeah,
He had initially had SELC, but he's just kind of a lone wolf right now. He's getting a little older, so he's not as active. Chad White is a people's pastor, a community-minded pastor. We developed a friendship, and I've been working with him. I also been working with Deja Demings and Young Black Professionals. Deja does a lot of work in the community, and she kind of stays out of the fray. You know what I'm saying? Um, and who else? I've been working with uh, Ohio Families Against Police Brutality, which Sabrina Jordan, whose son was killed by the Moraine Police, and Dion Burney, whose son was killed by the Montgomery County Sheriff, Pat Martin. And so we've been working with them for a couple years. One of the things we just talked about um, in our last meeting was to enhance our relationship with some of these people. Also, Alan Walden, the Dayton Fellowship Club,
Fellowship Club, right?
was one of the people that was on our list. We already, for the last 8 years, we've done the turkey giveaway and the Christmas party with the Dayton Fellowship Club. I'm recovering addict, so I spent my first maybe 10 years with the Fellowship Club. I kind of waned off after that, but I have a
I picked up your slack though.
yeah. You picked up my track. I still have a lot of friends and supporters down there. Recovery is one of the things that I've always done with the Black Panthers was gave out information on addiction. And so when we don't have anything else to do, um, we make sure that we hit some of the hot spots, the gas stations and the corner markets, and give out information on addiction because that's a big issue in our community. And as you know, if you strung out, you just that negates everything else, man. You can't do nothing else productive for yourself, your family, or the community.
Right. Yeah. And that's one thing that talking about in our community, like, conversation that we were having on Facebook, when people sometimes, like what we talk about, we gotta have thick skin because you get darts taken, when you voice your opinion, or even if you ask questions, some people might take them out of context or whatever.
Right.
When I asked the question, how come if a person says that he's running for office, the first place they say, go talk to the Black community churches. And, not that they're not relevant, but there's other sources, there's other, people that, need to be reached. One thing I found out in my run, this younger generation, this medium right here, if you're trying to get the new voters, 18 to 30, This
Right.
that we're using here, social media, you better be able to use it because you're not reaching the younger voter in the black churches like you used to. But but these are things that affect our community, like the addiction, you know,
Right.
like the reentry, like the poverty, like the prison. I mean, the preschool to prison pipeline that we have. That's set up that people say, oh no, it isn't, but it's been done by design. So these are all things that affect our community. And one thing I appreciate what you guys do is try to get as much education out about these things so that people can make a choice of whether they want to participate in their own community healing or not. You know, it's
Right.
one thing that we need. So if there was some things, I know that there's a lot of things that need to be worked on, and you and your party and your partners are doing it. But if there was one thing immediately that you could see that you think would change the black community, what would that be?
Right off, I think that a lot of things, man, but I think you spoke to social media and the church. Let me start right there, right? I think that, and this is no put down of anybody, but I think the church, my church included, um, and one of the controversies that I got caught up in my church is that they weren't relevant enough to what the changing, you know, the changing thing that was going on in the community. We had, when I was out there in the streets, man, our community was consumed by crack, and people was getting strung out, and people was dying in the streets and going to prison, and the church was slow to address it, man. And so that and everything surrounding that, man, and so people kind of basically went on. We survived, man. We find other avenues to seek to get that help that we need. That's why I went into Narcotics Anonymous, because I went back to the church first, man, and nobody would wanted to deal with me and my issues, right? And so I found another place. And I think it was like that in 100 different instances. The church was slow to address those things that were affecting our people. And so this new generation that came up, they lost a lot of confidence in the church. That's not a put down of the church. That's
Correct.
not to say that the church is not relevant or can't be relevant going forward. Now I see a lot of these younger pastors that are coming up now. They're beginning to embrace a more progressive agenda, right? But we have to stop in the black church. We have to stop being so conservative when it comes to dealing with issues that affect our people. It is what it is, right? We got communities where people use drugs, where they shoot and kill each other, where there's poverty, and so we have to change uh, our mindset about how we look at those things, because when we do that, it gives us a realness, right? And so people say, well, especially if you got an extreme problem like a crack habit, right? You need something real to solve that, right?
Right. Right.
You can't be giving me no Kool-Aid for that, right?
Right.
Because I was a top shelf crackhead, right? So I need some real medicine for that, right? And so it can't be just something that to make us look good. It has to be something with some substance. And I think a lot of these young groups and organizations. I remember when we started, man, and we started doing activism, and there wasn't a lot of people out here. We was lonely, man, at the rallies and stuff, right? But the spirit caught on, and I think it caught on all across the country because of the problems that we were facing, right? And this young generation came in unapologetically and said, "Hey, you know, if the church ain't gonna be there for us, we're going to start the church of what's happening now." And that might have been a community group or a community organization. To a large extent, they started replacing the church. And the young people stopped going to church, right? Um, You talked about social media. I get criticized a lot because I post a lot of stuff on social media, right? But I look at myself as being like the black CNN or something, right? You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? Because we don't criticize white folks when they got the 24-hour news cycle, right?
Right.
You know, we watch Rachel Maddow every night, right? But then when a black man does it, especially somebody that we familiar with, then we want to jump on it, right? Some of us, right? But I think the social media, man, look, that's a revolutionary medium to getting out information, and not just information as far as politics is concerned, but we share our lives with each other, man.
Right.
You know, I found people on social media. There's a guy on there today that I was in the Marine Corps with when I was 18, man. I'll be 60 next month, right? And I'm connecting with people that I haven't seen in years, man. So I think it's a tool. A lot of people use it for the wrong thing, but so do they use television for the wrong thing or the printed media, right? But I think we have to stop being so afraid, man, to step out. That's my problem with a lot of these politicians. Nobody knows what you're thinking. Nobody knows what you feel. You have to take some risks, right? And when you're in this work, you notice you have to take some risks. You have to take um, the risk of being shot down or being criticized in order that our people can progress, right? It's like Jesus said, pick up your cross and follow me. That's your cross, right? You know what I'm saying? And so those are some of the things I think that we could just do right off the top, man, today. You know what I'm saying?
And and that's the reason why, like I said, this platform here, as I said at the beginning of the show, I developed it in hopes that we can start highlighting some of those hidden gems in the gem city and also abroad. Because see, even though a lot of this is going to be, dedicated to here in our backyard,
Right.
majority, there's still some, some people who need to be highlighted in different areas because the same problems that we have here in the gym city they have it in Watts, they have it in South Central, they have it in Detroit, they have it in and by us and also highlighting the people who are doing the positive things in our community, and also highlighting some of the ones who might be doing those same high, those same hidden gems in East St. Louis might help motivate somebody who had an idea here in Dayton, like, oh, like I wanted to start my own black thrift store, but I didn't know the resources, even though we have people already doing it here, and
Right.
they see it in different communities and they say, okay, we can do it. So that was the premise behind us starting this black community blackboard, so that one that we can have start working on that central location of where all putting information of what events are going on or where the resources are and everything. Two, also this channel is dedicated to highlighting those hidden gems in our black communities because we have people who've been doing things for years that a lot of people don't know about. I mean, we have a lot of people who have been boots on the ground behind the scenes, you know, that a lot of people, and they deserve their roses while they're alive, man. That's what
Right.
we'll talk about. What somebody who's been a force might pass away, and then we all want to be on social media and talk about how good of a person we're dedicated to doing that to them now, man. And I appreciate all that you've done, man, and I appreciate all that you do in our community. And I want to tell you, not just coming from because I'm a little brother looking up in amazement and always, but I want you to keep doing the hard work that you've been doing. You know, the way we were raised in the Seventh Day Adventist Church, we were taught that, what I'm saying, you know, be our own leaders and everything like that. And I believe that's something that we need to be taken to the community and showing each person that they are a leader instead of looking for a leader. And if we all come together, what I'm saying, with open mindedness, not just thinking that my agenda is the one that needs to be done,
Right.
heal our community. So
Right.
before we get ready to shut down, we got about 10, 15 minutes left. Talk about some of the things that you really want to, talk about that that in the community that you really want to address this is our platform to do that, where it's a safe environment to talk about it, where it's not going to come with any scrutiny from me, you know,
Right. Right.
and all of that stuff. So here,
Right.
here's the time to go ahead and talk about some of the things that in the community, a good, positive and negative, that you would like to see changed.
Well, I think you kind of hit on it there at the end, man. I think that in the black community, man, we've been victims of a lot of exploitation over the years, right? And it has created a crabs in the barrel mentality, or me against you, or big eye little you kind of mentality um, within our people, man. And even those people who are educated, and those people who have more resources than other folks, or live in a better section of town, they are all victims of that. And a lot of times they don't know that. They think that this is what I'm supposed to do, right? And America, the way capitalism in America is set up, man, it teaches us that we should. It's a dog eat dog world. Go get. I'm gonna get mines. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of mentality allows us to do things like sell drugs, man. You know what I'm saying? Because we rationalize that. Well, I'm getting mine, so as long as I'm getting mine, the hell with those people.
Right.
But if you look at it for what it really is, man. When we was out there, I tried to sell a little dope. I smoked most of it up, but you know, we was like serial killers, man. You know what I mean? Really, we was, man. We did a lot of destruction to our people, man. And so um, that mindset, it crosses over from the streets even into these community groups and these political circles, man. And I think the real challenge, and the thing that I talk about a lot, is that um, we become more unified, and more willing to help our brothers and sisters, man. A lot of that is spiritual, man. A lot of that comes through spirituality and spiritual healing. I don't think it has to necessarily be from the church, but I think we need to adopt a more of a spiritual mindset. So I don't have to have everything. I
Right.
don't have to always be the face. I get a lot of criticism because I'm all over the place, right? But I built that up over time, right? I just didn't pop out there and become the guy out front. I was the guy behind the scenes. When I started with General Chewy and them, they wouldn't even let me speak, man, And I was young, man, and I'd be like, you gonna let me do something? Yeah, stand back there and hold the umbrella, right? And people don't know that, man. And they see me now. I'm 60. I'll be 60 next month, right? And I put 30 years in, right? So it didn't come overnight, man. That's what I try to tell the young people. Nobody is ego tripping. I was here before you was here, right? And so I like to see in our community, man, we have that respect and that wisdom, man. More critical thinking, man. We need to study more, read more books. I tell
Right.
everybody, you want to be a politician, or you want to be a community leader, and you don't even know the landscape, right? You know, and how can you lead folks when you don't know where you going, right?
Right. Or you don't know how to follow. Yeah.
Right. You got to know how to follow, and that's really, man. The older I get, the more I see that if we would learn those simple things, right? Greg West been out here for some years, man. He's starting to get a little gray hair, so I might want to listen. He's a guy that I might want to listen to, man, before I jump out there. There's nothing to be threatened by. I had a young lady tell me last week, said her boyfriend's an activist. She said, at the house, he talks about you a lot, and he's really threatened by you. Said, why? I always just tried to be a big brother to him. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's a situation where a lot of times we don't want to wait our turn, right? You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
Well, it goes back, like some of that stuff that we face in our community. It goes back to like when you were talking about being taught. I like to use the word indoctrination. The system has indoctrinated us. With that crabs in a barrel mentality. What people don't realize, the reason why we act the way we do is because we're not in our natural state right now.
Right.
Black people, I use that word, people be like, oh, what are we African American, we black, what I use the word black because what I'm saying, we really don't, we're the only people in history who don't know. We know we come from a continent. We don't know. It's very often, I mean, very rare where we can we trace it back to what tribe, So we're black people. That's what I look at it. Whatever people, I'm Pan African, so however anybody else look. But if you look at it, and you can check this out for yourself, the crab in the barrel. The reason why crabs act that way when they're in a barrel is because they're not in their natural state.
Right.
Crabs, the red crabs, live and feed in the ocean in their natural state. They stack themselves on one another. And the crab that's on top, when he gets his full, he'll go down and bury himself underneath the bottom one to push the crowd up and everything like that. So
Right.
our helping our community, that's why I believe in the African centric, spirituality. And we need, and I like to see, I'm enjoying watching a lot of these younger churches, pastors in the church incorporate our African spirituality into whatever religion they believe in, because all of it came from us from the beginning. Christianity, Judaism, whatever religion you want to have out there came from African centric beliefs anyway from the beginning. So once we get our mindset back to that of taking care of the community first, all of this is going, flourish. The old saying that always goes, and we need to get back to living by it. And I appreciate leaders like you and other ones who are doing it. It takes a village to raise a child.
Right.
And
Right.
we really get honest with ourselves. Black Americans, we're still that children because we really only had, how long have we really had our own independence? We've been free only over 160 years maybe, but we didn't really have rights. We still getting our rights. So in a sense, we still have a mindset of a children, and it's going to take this village to come together, raise us, man. Any closing remarks before we get out of here?
Say it again, bro. You kind of faded out. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I said, are there any closing remarks that you have before we get out of here?
Oh, yeah. I'd just like to thank you, man, for having me on, man. And um it's real obvious, man, that we brothers, man, from what we post, man. Look, I'll be reading your stuff, man. I'll be saying that's what I'm talking about right there, right? I'm glad that we have some people that are clear thinking, man. And then the older I get, man, be getting grouchier and grouchier, man, because it's the things that we talked about today, man. It's so important, man, and it's imperative, man, that we get this message out to these young folks, man, because I don't want them, and I try to tell people, man, I'm not trying to be grumpy, man. I don't want you to make the mistakes that I made, right? And it doesn't have to necessarily be with drugs, but it's just not listening to people, older, wiser people that have been down that road, right? And that could tell me that it's a bear down that road up under them bushes. You know what I'm saying? Things that going to school couldn't teach you, man. It just experience, uh, you know, will teach you. But I think when we learn things like that, man, there's no limits on what we can do as a people, man. We are beautiful people, man. We are creative people, man. Um, we got a lot of potential in the Dayton area, man, to do some good things, man. So I'm going to continue to do all I can. I said I was going to retire this year, but hey, 21 came in like a lion, man.
You
So
wouldn't know what to do if you retired, Duck, man.
you know what I'm saying?
You go
I wouldn't,
crazy,
man.
man.
This coronavirus got me stir crazy already, man. But I just want to say God bless you, brother, and continue on your path. Um, we're gonna get together in 2021 and make a difference in this community like we did in 2020, and hopefully we can reconcile. I want to see reconciliation amongst people who used to be friends that don't talk to each other no more. I got some people that I love, man, that won't talk to me, man. You know, and it's really sad because it's all around some ideology or some other nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we just go for peace and love, man, and Black Power, brother.
Black Power. And if people wanted to reach you, how could they do that if they had interest in joining the new Black Panther Party or anything? And you have a web address or anything, or email that they can
Yeah.
back?
Well, they can reach me at on Facebook at we have the Dayton chapter of the New Black Panther Party Facebook page, and I kind of get all my messages through there, or they can email me at dbpanther1@gmail.com. That's D as in David, B as in boy, the word Panther, the number one at gmail.com.
Okay, and I will make sure that that will be in the description when we air this. And again, I'd like to thank you um, um, for being our inaugural guest. Groundbreaking
Oh man,
territory, everything like that. With
yeah,
that being said, look, for any of you guys, look, we will be airing these. So we're looking for people, those hidden gems, man. We have some young, I got a nice lineup that I have planned on coming up. We got some young entrepreneurs out here, starting up businesses and everything that we'll be highlighting. We have some older people who've been in the community that, the unsung heroes. But if you have anybody that you think needs to be highlighted and they have a story that needs to be out here for our Black community here so that they can get the support that they need. Like our Black businesses need the support. And this is one way that I plan on having a medium so people can know where they're located. Please get in touch with us here. You can find us on Facebook at the Black Community Blackboard page. Also, you can email us at blackcommunityblackboard@gmail.com. For y'all, I will have all of that in the description so you can get in touch with us. Please, let's get our community together. Let the healing start because it's already started. Let's continue the healing. Let's get this word out here and start showing the positive side of the Black community instead of all the negativity. Because the more that they feed us negativity, that's the more that we believe about ourselves. And the way that we heal our community is start to show the positive so we can have a positive vibe about ourselves. With that being said, again, I'd like to thank this community for you supporting us, no matter what part you do, whether you're that old person who's picking up litter off the streets or you're that educator who's educated the ones who've gone to the NBA or the football or the NFL, or you just the one that's out there doing, or even our Black politicians, anyone. We like to thank you, and please let's keep the hope alive. And as we always say, Ashe and Black Power to the community.
Black Power. Thank you, brother.